Okay, welcome everyone. As we are sponsored by the Rezepkowitz family in honor of their parents, but co-sponsored by Mr. and Mrs. Eddie Chazan, the Refuah Shalema for Shoshana Bas Panina and Simon Bas Rochel, co-sponsored by Binyamin Rivlin, Lili Nishmas Yitzchak Ben Avram Yehuda Levi, co-sponsored by Shelley Zeitlin for his children Eli, Orit, and Ora, sponsored by Baruch Goldwasser for my Refuah Moishmei Ben Esther Fadel and Akros HaToiv to the share, and sponsored by Shalom Fogel, Lili Nishmas, Yaakov Zeb Ben Yehuda Aryeh, Rivka Bas Yaakov Yosef, Tzivya Miriam Bas Gad, and Yosef Ben Tzim and Yaakov Zev. Tonight is my Rebbitzins Yartzeit, my first Rebbitzins Yartzeit, Miriam Liba Bas Reb Aaron, her seventh Yartzeit. Her neshama should have a lichtige Gan Eden. She should be Malitza Yeshar for our family, for all of us, all of the Talmidim of the Daf that she loved so much, and all of Klal Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol niyeh b'dvaro. Why do you think that? We want to welcome in Dr. Yudel, Irving Fishbaum, Saba, Shimon Klein, Stephen Holtzman, Ben-Zion Cohn, Michal, Dr. Black, Yaakov Warman, Dr. Guy, Marshall Castle, Shimon Imansky, Eddie Chazan. Welcome in Barry Cement, Rabbi Kranz, Nachman Chapler, Abe Arbach, Moshe Lehman, Richard Rosenzweig, Avram Rezepkowitz, Ilya Shutman, Yisrael Fisher, Yitzi Fuchs, Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg, Yitzi Muller, and Mel Zachter, who just joined us. Here in the shul, we have the pleasure of having Berish Gesserman, Kramer, Gedalia Engel, Michal Avram, Shlomo Yehuda, and Ruvain Shannon. We are holding at the two dots, 3 lines from the bottom of Daf Yud Ches Amud Beis. So the Mishnah says that a Kohen Gadol cannot be miyabe his brother's wife. Now, the simple reason is because his brother's wife is a widow, and a Kohen Gadol is not allowed to marry a widow. But the Gemara says that's problematic because the mitzvah of Yibum is an asay, Yavama Yavar Yaleha. And we normally say asay doichalois asay, that a positive commandment pushes aside a negative commandment. So the Gemara says kapasik v'tani. It says that he can't be miyabim his brother's wife, the Kohen Gadol loishnam and erisim loishnam and nesuin, regardless if it's brother's wife from betrothal or brother's wife from marriage. So if his brother was married to her, so she wasn't a basula, that's why the Kohen Gadol can't be miyabim her, because have a asay v'lois asay, it would transgress a asay and a lois asay. Asay is a positive commandment that he has to marry a basula, and a lois asay is that he's not allowed to marry a widow. Ve'ein asay doicha lois asay v'asay. And the asay of Yibam will not supersede the lois asay of marrying a widow and the asay of marrying a virgin. Elaminar erisin, but if the brother was only betrothed, so she still is a virgin, amai, why should he not be miyabim his brother's wife? Yavai asay, let the asay of Yavama Yavai Aleh come, v'yidcha lois asay, and push away the lois asay of not marrying a widow. So the Gemara says, well, you're right. Technically, he would be able to have the first bia with her. But once he has the first bia, he already fulfills the mitzvah asay. So Gezeira bia rishayna had to be a shniya. He would have to only have yibum with her first bia and then give her a divorce. And we're afraid that he might sleep with her again. Tanya nami hachi im kadmu balu bia rishayna. If he did a bia rishayna, if the Kohen Gadol did, if his brother was only engaged and then died, and he had a bia rishayna with her, he would fulfill the mitzvah of yibum. She would need to get a get. But for us, the kaiman b'bia shniya. But it's forbidden to have a second bia because then the mitzvah is already fulfilled anymore, so there's no more asay doichalois asay. Meis loy meis. We said if the Kohen Gadol loses one of his 7 close kin, so the Mishnah says that he could go out when the Aron is not seen. When the Aron turns a corner, he could go out. As soon as the Aron becomes visible, he has to stay away. Rabbi Yehuda says he can't go out at all because it says Min HaMikdash Lo Yetze. Now, what is it? What did the Rabbanan do with Min HaMikdash Lo Yetze? So says the Gemara as we welcome in Mo and Rabbi Kranz. Says the Gemara, Tan Rabbanan Min HaMikdash Lo Yetze means Lo Yetze Imohen. He can't go out with the funeral procession. Aval Yetze Hu Achrei, and he could go afterwards when the coffin is around the corner. Ketzad Hey Nichsin, when they cannot be seen because the coffin turned the corner, Vu Nigla, then he could expose himself. Hey Nigla, when the coffin could be seen, Vu Nichsa, he has to hide. We're afraid that if he sees the coffin, he might come to touch it. V'yotze ad Pesach Shara, and he could go until the gateway of the city. So the Gemara says, Shaper Kamer Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says, it says, Min HaMikdash Lo Yetze. Amalach Reb Meir, so Reb Meir says, well, if you're going to take Min HaMikdash Lo Yetze literally, Iachi L'Beisei Namila, you shouldn't be able to go home. Elachi Kamer Min HaMikdash Lo Yetze Mikedushasei Lo Yatza. He shouldn't leave his holiness. V'kevan D'Islei Hakera, but since there's a hecker by that he doesn't see the coffin, Lo Asi Laminga, he's not going to come to touch the Aron and become Tameh. Rabbi Yehuda says, Agav Merire, because of his bitterness of the loss of his relative, Dilma Mikre, he might come to forget, he might chance it, V'asi V'naga, and come and touch the coffin and become Tameh. Now, Kishum Menachem. Tan Rabbanan, Kishu Oiver B'Shura L'Nachem Es Acherim, when he passes in the row in order to comfort others. So we said that the Kohen Gadol is sandwiched. He's flanked on either side in his honor, as the Gemara will say. Kishuayva b'shura lenachem es acherim, Scan, the deputy Kohen Gadol, u'mishuach she'avar, and the anointed Kohen Gadol that was passed by. That means that a Kohen Gadol that was appointed when the regular Kohen Gadol got Tameh, and then when the first Kohen Gadol came back, he's called the Mishuach She'avar, the anointed Kohen Gadol that was removed. Biyaminai, they flanked him to his right. V'roish base of, and the head of the base of, there were 24 mishmaros, and each mishmar, a different base of, operated on a different day of the week. So the roish base of, the head of that base of that day, va'avelim, and the mourners, v'kala and everybody that was comforting mismaila was to his left. Ukishuhu aimei b'shura umisnache ma'achem, and when he's standing in the line and being comforted by others, scan miyaminai, the deputy Kohen Gadol to the right, v'roish base of, and the head of the base of, v'kala mismaila. The question is, why doesn't it mention then the Meshuach She'avar? Aval Meshuach She'avar lo yasi gabei. But the Kohen Gadol that was removed doesn't come when he's in mourning. My time. Well, what's the reason? Because the Kohen Gadol that was removed, since he's also a Kohen Gadol, there's a bit of a rivalry between them, and now when he's vulnerable and he's in mourning, chol shadate, he's going to feel a little bit weak because of it. So he'll say, my rival Kochodabi is rejoicing over my misfortune. Now, Amar Papa, Shmamina Mehomas Nisa, we could deduce from this Brisa Tlas 3 deductions. First of all, Shmamina Hainu Skan, Hainu Memuna. When it says the appointed Kohen Gadol, it means the deputy Kohen Gadol, because it calls it, one place it calls him the Memuna, and one place it calls him the Skan. Vishmamina, that in the Shura, this is the way it used to be, it's not this way now, But Shmamina Avelim Oimdim, the mourners were stationary. The Chala Oivrim, and everybody else passed. Now we do it the opposite. We do that the mourners walk and the people in the Shura are stationary. V'shmamina avelim l'smoil amenachem v'mheim oimdim. And we could conclude that the mourners were to the left of those that were comforting them. Tan Rabbanan. B'rishayna taka hayu avelim oimdim, the mourners stood, v'kala oivrim, everybody passed by them like we do today. However, Vayubeis Mishpachos Yerushalayim, there were two families in Yerushalayim, Mizgara Zubazu, fighting for the honor of who should go first. I should pass first. The people should stand, and the mourners are the ones that walk. Amar Rami Bar Abba, here's the Rabbi Yossi as Hadavar Liyoishnoi B'tzipurei. The custom was returned to its original form in Sipuri. Shiyu Avelim Oimdim, that the mourners stood, V'kala Oivrim, and everybody else walked. V'amar Rami Bar Abba, Hiskin Rabbi Yossi B'tzipurei, Rabbi Yossi enacted in Sipurei, Shaloitei Isha Maleches B'shuk Ubna Achrea. A woman shouldn't walk in the marketplace with her child behind her, because what happened was his kidnappers came and snatched the child, and when she ran to find the child, the kidnappers violated her. When she came into the house, they violated her. V'amarami ba'aba, hiskin Rabbi Yossi b'tzipurei, sheyehu nashim misapreis b'beis hakisei, that women would talk. Normally, you're not supposed to talk. It's not sneerstic to talk in the bathroom. However, this is something that we differ very much from the Goyim, The Goyim, they carry on conversations in the bathroom from one stall to another. That is very inappropriate. Yidden, don't talk in the bathroom. In the bathroom, we are attending our bodily needs like an animal, and therefore it's not something to broadcast. But they enacted in Sipurei that women should talk to one another in the outhouse, so that men should not come, because a man is not supposed to be together even with two women. Mishum yichud. Amar Ramanashia bar Avis she'ilah, says Rabbi Yoshia Rabbah. We asked Rabbi Yoshia Rabbah, Rabbi Yoshia the Great, bebeis almin de Hutzel, in the cemetery of Hutzel, v'amali, and he said to me, ein shchura pchusa me'asar b'nei adam, you don't make a shura unless you have a minyan. Ve'ein avelim min minyan, and the mourners don't count in the minyan. That's true. Bein she'avelim oimdim v'kala oivrim, whether it's the avelim that stand and everybody else passes, bein she'avelim oivrim, or the avelim pass v'kala oimdim. Most Chevra Kadishas do not do a shura for women. There are Chevra Kadishas that have a shura where they make a shura of women for women and men for men. They also have sometimes making a shura of men for women, but only on one side, because a woman is not supposed to walk in between two men. Kishuhu misnachem, when he is comforted. Ibayalo. The Gemara says, Ki menachem hu achrine, when he, the Kohen Gadol, comforts others, Eichi amalu. Tajma, v'hu amar tisnachamu. You should be comforted. Heichi dami, ilay me ki menachme achrine l'didei. When others are comforting him. Amalu iu tisnachamu, you should be comforted. That doesn't make sense. Nachsha karamilu, is he saying some kind of a incantation, wishing them that they should need comfort? That can't be. Ela ki menachem lachrine, when he comforts other, amalu tisnachamu, they should be comforted. Shma mina. Now, The Mishnah goes on to say, Melech loidan, a king does not judge, v'loidan in oisai, and they don't judge him. Now, as we learned when we learned the Mishnah Yomis, this is only talking about the arrogant kings of the north. It's not talking about kings of the Davidic dynasty. Amar Rabbi Yosef leishanu el malchei Yisrael. It's only the kings of the northern kingdom, malchei beis David, but kings of the Davidic dynasty, done v'done in Isan, that they could judge and they are judged. Chsiv beis David, Kayama Hashem, dinu l'bayker mishpat, judge in the morning justice. Now, if they judge, they must be able to be judged. If they can't be judged, how could they judge? First search yourself out, and then search others. Adorn yourself first. So it must be that the kings of the Davidic dynasty can be judged and do judge. Ela Malchei Yisrael. It's talking about kings of the north. My timer. It's because of the following incident. The servant of Yanai the king killed somebody. Amalu Shimon ben Shetach, so Shimon ben Shetach, who was not going to show favor, Amalu Shimon ben Shetach l'chacham tnu einechem boy, train your eyes on this Eved, v'nidanunu, and judge him. Shalach lei, so they sent a summons to Yanai, avdecha kotel nafsha, your Eved killed someone. So Shadrilu, Yanai sent the Eved to the court to be judged. Sholchulei, but they sent him to Antnami Lacha. You also have to pair, because it says, you have to testify against its owner. Yavai Balashar, let the owner of the shar, in this case, an Eved is like his metaltalin. Yavai Balashar v'yamed al sharai. The owner of the axe should come and stand by his axe. You have to come and stand by your Eved. So Asa v'Yosef. So Yanai came and they brought a throne and he sat on the throne. Amalei Shimon ben Shetach. So Shimon ben Shetach said, Yanai Hamelech, Amoid al raglecha, stand on your feet for your idubach, and let them testify against you. And you should know, you're not standing in the honor of the court. You're standing before Hashem. The two people that have the quarrel should stand lifnei Hashem. Amaloi, so here Yanai challenged. He saw that Shimon ben Shetach wasn't cowed by his monarchy. Amaloi ata, let me hear what your colleagues have to say. Now the rest of the court, they were cowed. They were afraid of Yanai. Nifna liyaminai, he turned to their Shimon ben Shetach's right. Kavshu pnei bekarka, and the Zakanim looked down. Nifna l'smayna, he turned to the left. V'kavshu pnei bekarka, and they looked down. Amalem Shimon ben Shetach bali machshavas atem. All of a sudden, yarangeton in machshavas. Yavai bala machshavas. Let the master of knows what people think. V'yipara mechem, and punish you. Miyad ba Gabriel, immediately Gabriel came, the Chaftan Bekarki banged down the Zakanim, Omesu, and they died. It was a great tragedy that the members of the Sanhedrin, they died. Oy vey.
Why did they summon him if they were afraid of him? Shimon ben Shetach didn't tell them to summon him. They did it on their own.
No, that was part of Shimon ben Shetach's instructions, that he has to summon the Eved and its owner. Okay. But they didn't expect that there would be a confrontation.
What was Yanai worried about?
He didn't want to stand up.
Oh, just like a pride?
Yeah, pride. That's the arrogance of the kings of the north.
But what did he say to cause that to happen?
What?
What did he say to cause them to die? Was it Yanai HaMelech who said it?
No, it was Shimon ben Shetach.
So what did he say exactly?
He said, let the Baal Machshavas Hashem come and punish you.
Who was the Baal Machshavas? You mean
The Rabbeinu Shalom.
No, I understand, but why would they be punished? Because they looked away?
Yeah. It says you're not supposed to be afraid. Like Sagurum ibn Aish.
Okay.
And Shimon and Shetach wasn't afraid of him. He was
No. No.
So what do I have to do? They have to make a new Sanhedrin.
They had to make it in court. So Shah Amru, at that time they instituted Melech loidan v'loidan in Isai. A king is not judged, cannot judge, and cannot be judged. Because since he cannot be judged, he can judge. Loimeid, you can't testify. V'loimeid, so yeah, we don't testify about him. Now, it says about the king, Loi chayleitz v'loi chayletzes. The king is Loi chayleitz v'loi choltzin l'ishtay. The king cannot give chalitza to his, submit to chalitza to his brother's wife, because that would be improper, that he should be spat at. And they're not chaylitz to his wife, because if the king dies, there's no yibum by his wife, because nobody can marry the king's widow. And since there's no yibum, kol she'ein oil yibum, ein oil chalitza. Says the Gemara, is that so? Well, why can't the king submit to chalitza and be meichelis? On that, we have another opinion in the Mishnah that says that if the king wants to submit to chalitza or do yibum, he could do so, and zachal atayv. Says the Gemara, zachal atayv? Any v'am Rav Ashi afilu man damer nasi shemachal al kvoidei machal. Even if the nasi, the head of the Sanhedrin, who forgives his honor, could forgive his honor, melech shemachal al kvoidei ain't kvoidei machal. A king who wants to forgive his honor cannot forgive his honor. Shenemar, as it says, Soim tosim alecha melech, appoint upon you a king, shetehei mosay alecha. There is here, don't interpret me in the middle of a sentence. Shetehei mosay alecha. Shmamin, says the Gemara, mitzvah shani. A mitzvah is different. If he's doing a mitzvah, for the mitzvah, it could be Michael is covered, yes?
What's the difference between a Melech and a Nasi?
Nasi is the head of the court. Melech is the king.
That's what a Nasi is, the head of the court?
The head of the court, yeah.
It says Asher Nasi Yechet in Vayikra, top of the head of the court.
It's not a king. Not a king. That's what the Rishonim say over here. The Ein Noisin, you cannot marry the king's widow. And then we have another opinion that a king could marry the king's widow. Tanya, Amru Leilu Rabbi Yehuda, they said to Rabbi Yehuda, no, a king cannot marry even the king's widow. It means Noshim Ru'uyas Loimen Beis HaMelech, that the king could marry women worthy to him from the throne. And that the example is that David was given Shaul's daughters. Umayniu, Meirav and Meichel, who were Shaul's daughters. Not that David married the king's wives, but the king's daughters. Shaulu Talmid of Rabbi Yaisi. I don't understand. How could David HaMelech marry two sisters? Shaul Talmid of Rabbi Yaisi, Heich Nasa David Shtei Achayis. How could he marry two sisters in their lifetime? Says the Gemara, Amar Lahem, Michal Achar Misas Meirav Nasa. He married Michal after Meirav died. Rabbi Shua ben Karcha Imer, Kiddushay Toyis Hayalei b'Meirav. The reason why he was allowed to marry Michal is because the Kiddushin that he had with Meirav was not a good Kiddushin. And therefore, since the Kiddushin that he had with Meirav is not a good Kiddushin, that's why he was allowed to marry Michal. What's the story? Shenemar, David HaMelech said, Tno es ishti es Michal. give me my wife Michal asher arasti li, that I betrothed b'meya arelois plishtim, with 100 foreskins of the Philistines that I killed. Now my Talmud, what's the inference over here? Amra papa Michal ishti, give me Tana es ishti es Michal. Michal was my wife. V'loy Meirav ishti. Meirav was not my wife. Now, what was the Kiddushei Toyis with Meirav? My Kiddushei Toyis, the Chsiv v'hoya ish asher yakenu, the man who smites Goliath, Yashrenu amelech oishu gadol, the king will make very rich and give him his daughter. Ozil Kutlei. So he went and he killed Goliath. So, and David HaMelech was moichel the wealth, and with that he was Mekadesh Meirav. Amaloi, so he said to him, Milva Islach Gavoy, it's a debt that you have on me, and by being moichel the get, that's debt, that's Mekadesh B'milva. Mekadesh B'milva ain't a Mekadishis. So therefore, since he said that the Kedusha with Meirav was not good, also Yoav LaAdriel. He gave Meirav to Adriel. The Chsiv Vayibais says Meirav Bashol LeDavid, at the time where instead of giving Meirav Bashol to David, he gave it to Adriel. Amalei, he said to him then, Ibois de etin lach Michal. If you want me to give you Michal, zil aisili meya orlois plishtim. Go and bring me 100 foreskins of Philistines. In other words, bring me 100 scalps, so to speak. Ozil aisile. He brought it for him. And here again, he was moichel the debt, but he also gave the 100 foreskins. Amalei milvo pruta isla gabai. So he was mekadesh with the forgiving of the debt and the pruta, the 100 foreskins. Shol sava milvo pruta daita milva. And since he can't be mekadesh and milva, the kiddushin with Michal is not a good kiddushin. The David sava milva pruta daita pruta. Viba Yisema the Kuli Alma Milva Pruta Daita Pruta. Everybody knows he can't be Makash B'Milva. He had in mind the Pruta. However, Shaul felt that 100 foreskins isn't even worth the Pruta. Shaul Savaloi Chazavaloi Mide. The David Sava, and David says the 100 foreskins, Chazul the Kalve Ushinre, are fit for dogs and cats. Says the Gemara of Reb Yaisi, and according to Reb Yaisi, so we were medaik in the term ishti, that only Michal was ishti and Meirav was not ishti. But that wasn't Rabbi Yossi's opinion. Rabbi Yossi says that David married Michal after Meirav died. So Rabbi Yossi, hay tno es ishti es Michal my darish bey. What does he do with the term ishti, which is mashma that only Michal was my wife and not Meirav? Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yossi l'tamei. Rabbi Yossi goes according to his reasoning. The Tanya Rabbi Yossi hayadoresh mikrois mu'uravim. He used to expound verses that are mixed and explain their true meaning. Ksiv, Vayikach es Hamelech es Shnei b'nei Ritzpah. David took the two sons of Ritzpah bas Aya, Asher Yolda l'Shal, the daughter of Aya that was born to Shaul. Who are the two boys? Armoni and the Esmephibosheth. Ve'es chameshes b'nei Michal, and the 5 children of Michal, asher yoldo la'Adriel ha'mechulasi. And the 5 children of Michal that she gave, that she begat to Adriel ha'mecholasi. So asks Rabbi Yossi, did Michal have children with Adriel? V'chi Adriel nesana? Did Shaul give Michal to Adriel? He gave it to Palti ben Laish. Palti ben Laish nesana. Oh, this is getting even more complicated. He gave it to Palti ben Laish. Dichsiv Shaul nasan es Michal bitay Eishes David. Shaul gave Michal his daughter, the wife of David, lepalti ben Laish. Ela makish kiddushay meirav l'Adriel, juxtaposed the kiddushin of meirav to Adriel, lekiddushay Michal lepalti ben Laish, to the kiddushin of Michal to palti ben Laish. Makiddushay Michal lepalti ba'avera, because Michal was married to David, so she was an Eishes Ish. Af kiddushay meirav l'Adriel ba'avera. So also the kiddushin of meirav to Adriel was ba'avera, because Meirav was also married to David. This is like Rabbi Yossi, who held that first David was married to Meirav, and then after Meirav died, that's he married Michal. Says the Gemara, but according to Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha, that holds that Meirav's marriage to Michal was a Kiddushay Tais, Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha nami hoksiv es chameshes b'nei Michal b'ashol. It says the 5 sons of Michal that she gave birth to Adriel. Says the Gemara, Amalecha Rabbi Yeshua. So Rabbi Yeshua said, now that's difficult because says the Gemara, Amalecha Rabbi Yeshua b'chi Michal yolda. Did Michal give birth to those 5 children? V'aloi Meirav yolda. Meirav gave birth to the 5 children, because according to Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha, the marriage to Meirav was legal because the marriage to David was a Kiddushay Tais. Meirav yolda. Meirav gave birth to them. Why are they called Chameshes b'nei Michal? Meirav yolda Michal gidla. But Michal, Eddie is waiting. But Michal raised them, and whoever raises the children is considered as if they gave birth to them. Lefikach nikra'u al shma lelamedcha shekol ha'megadol yosem b'seich beisei. Whoever raises one who is an orphan in their house, malav avakosav kilu yoldai. The Torah considers it as if they gave birth to them. Now, first of all, let me point out as we continue this very long daf, that we have the pleasure here of having 31 Zoomers. I want to point out that we are missing now for quite a long time Mark Frankel. He hasn't been here now since the Siyum. Very, I'll make sure to call him. And Naftali Jablin just came on as the 32nd Zoomer of the evening. As I say, never hesitate to come on late. If you have to come on, even just for a few minutes, it's a pleasure to have you. Now, says this is a big yesod. By the way, there are couples that can't have children. It's a very big thing to adopt a child. It's a very big thing to take a foster child. If you raise a child, it's as if you gave birth to them. And the Gemara is going to quote, this is such an important yesod that the Gemara is going to quote many sources for this. Rab Chanina Amar Mehacha Vatikren Olay Hashchenes Shem, and the neighbors gave the child a name, Lamar Yulad Ben Lanomi, that Nomi had a child. Now this was Rus's child. Oved was Rus's child. Why did they say it's a child to Nomi? V'chi Nomi Yolda, V'alei Rus Yolda. Ela Rus Yolda, Rus gave birth to her, but Nomi Gidla, but child grew up on Nomi's lap, Lefikach Nikra al Shma. Therefore it's known as Nomi's child.
What could Rus raise her?
could raise her, but Rus was a convert, and she didn't have the knowledge of all the Yiddish Zachen like Nami, so Nami gave up to a Yiddish mama as an upraising. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Mehacha, V'ishtoi ha-Yehudiya, now this is referring to none other than Bisya, who was a Yehudiya because she stood up. Anybody that stands up against idolatry is considered Mordechai. That's why Mordechai was known as Mordechai ha-Yehudi. And Bisya stood up against the idolatry of her father's house, of Paro's house. So V'ishta Yehudiya, Yolda es Yered, that's Moshe Rabbeinu, Avigdor. He had 10 names. One of his names was Yered, one of his names was Avigdor. Ve'ela b'nei Bisya bas Paro, and these are the children of Bisya, the daughter of Paro, Asher lokach mered, who was married. We'll see that Bisya was married to Kolev. Mered ze Kolev. And why was he called Mered? Because he rebelled against the eights of the Meraglim. V'nama nikrishma Mered, shemored ba'atzas Meraglim. Says the Gemara, v'chi Bisya yolda. Did Bisra give birth to Moshe Rabbeinu? V'alo Yocheved yolda. Yocheved gave birth to her. Ela Yocheved yolda. Yocheved gave birth to her. Bisya gidla. Lefikach nikra al shma. Therefore, it's considered as if Bisya had him. Finally, Rabbi Elazar Mehacha, this important yesod that if you raise a child, it's as if you gave birth to the child. Rabbi Elazar Mehacha, Ga'alta bizroya amcha, with your arm you redeemed your people. Bnei Yaakov v'Yosef tzela, the children of Yaakov and Yosef. Now, the Shvatim, Kal Yisrael, the children of Yaakov, they weren't children of Yosef. Yosef was only the father of Ephraim and Manasseh. V'chi Yosef yolad, v'alo Yaakov yolad. Ela Yaakov yolad, Yaakov gave birth to them, but v'Yosef kilkel, Yosef supported them. Lefikach nikra al shmai. So here we're learning something else out, that if a person supports a family, it's also as if he gave birth to the family. A big thing to help support a family. Now here's another thing, teaching other people's children Torah. Amar Rabbi Shmuel ben Achmeni, Amar Rabbi Yonasan. If you teach the child of your friend Torah, it's as if you gave birth to him. Shenama ve'ela toldos Aaron and Moshe. These are the children of Aaron and Moshe. Uksiv ve'ela shmais b'nei Aaron. So what do you mean? It says the children of Aaron and Moshe, and then it says the children of Aaron. How could the children of Aaron be the children of Moshe? Laimelecha Aaron Yolad. Aaron gave birth to them. Or Moshe limeid, and Moshe taught them. Lefikach nikra al shmai. And that's why Rebbe has a father-son relationship with his Talmidim. As it says, Vishinantam levanecha elu ha-talmidim. I told you that the Rosh Hashiva once asked Rav Yaakov if he has to go to the wedding of all his Talmidim. He says, I have a lot of Talmidim. If I have to go to the wedding of all my Talmidim, it's overwhelming. So Rabbi Yaakov says, do you go to your wedding of your children? He said, yes. Well, your Talmidim, if they're like your children, you got to go to their wedding. And it's known that Rabbi Yaakov would travel even in his late 80s, maybe even in his 90s. He would travel to, he was living then in Muncie. He would travel to Toronto, where he was a Rav. He would travel to Florida to Chasanas, to be by Chasanas of Talmidim. L'chein, therefore, Ko Amar Hashem el Beis Yaakov, so Hashem said to the house of Yaakov, Asher Poda es Avram, the house of Yaakov which redeemed Avram. Well, where do we find that Yaakov redeemed Avram? V'chi eichem matzina v'Yaakov shepdol Avram. Rabbi Yehuda shepodoi mitzar gidul banim. Yaakov, who took upon himself to raise 12 shvatim, he redeemed Avram from tzar gidul banim. V'hainu dichsiv lo yato yevosh Yaakov. You will not be ashamed, Yaakov. Lo ato yevosh Yaakov. You won't be ashamed, aviv, from your father. V'lo ata Ponav Yechavaru, you don't want to have to be, your face won't be whitened, you won't blanch, me'avi aviv. The idea is that usually there's a klal of niskatnu adairis, that the generations become smaller. But over here, because Yaakov took the weight of Tsar Gidul Banim, he didn't have to feel diminished from his predecessors, Avram and Yitzchak. Now, we're going to stop over here, and we are going to now do the Mishnah Yomis. Again, as we get into the week, I just want to mention we are still looking for a sponsor for Parshas Vayechi. We do not have a sponsor for Vayechi Chazak. 718-916-3100, rmmwsi@aol.com.
Yes. Rabbi, I have a question.